Hey guys, welcome to Art with Tammy, and today we're going to do a couple of watercolor birds. Now I thought we'd start with this one because they're pretty simple. They're super cute. The little wrens. Here's one I did a little bit earlier. How cute is he? He's the cutest little thing. I've got a bit of watercolor paper. I need some watercolors, a pencil, an eraser if you need it. And pretty simple to do these birds because they're such simple shapes. They're kind of just puffs of feathers that are in a shape. And I think that's pretty easy to do as artists. We try and simplify things down into simpler shapes. And that's how we're going to approach this now. Now, the first step of drawing is what? Draw lightly. So we're going to look at this little bird. We're going to go, oh, what shape is this bird? It's kind of like a big egg, isn't he? The underlying shape of the bird. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at it and then we're going to take it over here. We're not going to use our pencil like we're writing. We're going to pull back our pencil a little so that it's easy to move, can make easy light lines. That's how we draw lightly. So number one rule, draw lightly. So number one, let's draw that shape of that cute little bird. Kind of like, see how I'm drawing lightly? I'm not worried that I'll not need to rub out because it's going to be so easy to rub out because I've drawn so lightly. So that's kind of the shape of my bird. Now I look again at it again and I go, okay, details on this bird. His top of that oval sort of shape is his head. So I'm going to kind of draw a light line to show me sort of where his head is. Now the way that we know where his head is because that's blue. His head is blue. And then his chest, which is, he must be like a robin or something. You guys tell me what he is. I think he's a robin, a type of little bird. And he's got a red chest and then he's got a little bit of a white chest. So cute, isn't he? And what else are we missing? We're missing his eyeball. Now, sort of, if I had to divide my egg in half, his eye's not in the middle. It's sort of just to the right of the middle. So if I go like that, I go, okay, well, his eye's kind of over there. Now, it's important to get the eye in the right place because if you don't have that eye in the right place, you're going to end up with a really weirdly proportioned bird. It's going to be really odd. So you can see because the eye, in line with the eye, is his beak. So I'm going to go in line with his eye. Sort of starts inside of his body. He's got a slight curve, shape of a triangle, is a cute little beak. Just like that. He's got his shape of his eye. And the shape of his head that comes round. And now, he kind of looks like a bit like a penguin, doesn't he? All right, now let's draw his chest. So you can see it kind of goes in there. So let's do that little in bit. And then he's got a proud little chest that comes out. And I'm going to follow that line down to the bottom. So that's kind of the shape of this side of your bird. Kind of the shape. We're just looking for kind of the shape. All right, next we come down to his other side, and on the back side of this bird is a wing. So let's do that wing. It's a wing shape. It comes down behind him, past his bottom. Do birds have bottoms? I suppose they've got a bottom. And it kind of makes that shape. We can't really see it very, very well because it kind of blurs a little bit up there. But we're just going to draw in exactly what we see. We see that there is a color change, and that color change is showing us that this is the bird's wing. So I'm not drawing every line exactly the same. You can do that if you'd like to. Maybe you could even trace this bird if it makes it easier for you. But I'm just going to wing it. Pardon the pun. All right, now I'm drawing his little change of his bottom over here, the color change between his tail and his bottom. And it comes around. Can you see it's starting to sort of happen, this little bird? Starting to become a bird, not just a little shape on the page. He's also got a color change here. So let's do this color change. We just draw super lightly. Going to go down under his wing. It's a super light change. And then he's got little feet holding onto, it looks like a rock. Should we call it a rock? A little rock, so I'm going to draw that rock there. Now this leg starts sort of right kind of under him. So I'm going to go under him and draw his craggy little feet. Funny little feet, aren't they? One foot there, and then on sort of up in line with his eye. If I come down, starts his other little craggy little feet. Ooh, they're kind of like monster feet. If I pictured a monster going up into his little body. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that little bird. Now, that might not look exactly the same as what this bird looks like, but it's my bird, and it's going to become my watercolor bird. So I'm going to go around now and just double check that I've got all the right little details in him. I'm not going to do too many details because we're going to cover this with paint, and once you're covered with the paint, it kind of gets permanent, so we're not going to go too hard out. The one thing I'm going to do is just going to double check that I've got the shape of his beak right. It's probably a little bit better. I'm going to go a little bit harder with that because I'm going to use a dark color on it anyway, so you're not going to see it as much. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. He's got a little bit of a lightness in his eye there. All right, let's go. All right, next, paint. All right, to start with, we're going to need a paintbrush and some paint. I've just got a very cheap set. This set is just from Officeworks, but you can get the same set from Bunnings, not Bunnings, from Big W as well. And they're around about, I don't know, $13 to $15. So not expensive, not going to blow the bank. And I've got some water. Now, my water's not very clean because I've already painted this cute little one earlier. So I've dirtied up the water a bit. It should be super clean, so you go get yourself a clean bit of water. So I think what I'm going to start with, I'm going to start off with his belly. The reason why is because this part here is going to be quite wet, because I'm going to wet it up really well, because we're going to use a technique called wet in wet. So I'm going to wet my brush, and I'm going to, the entire belly of my little bird is going to be water. You can see my water's a little bit dirty. Naughty Tammy, naughty. I'm just going to use a bit of paper towel, mop up a bit of water every now and then. Now I'm going to try and leave this whole part here as white as I can, because his belly is white, and the white of the paper is going to be that white, because we don't use white in watercolor, we only use the colors. The paper is what's going to be the white part on it. So next, I'd like to have a little bit of shadow down the bottom of him. So I'm going to mix up a bit of brown with a little bit of this black. Can you see? It's kind of made a very diluted color. I'm going to just test it there. Can you see that? Oh, it's a little bit dark. I reckon I'm going to put a little bit of blue in it, because that color kind of looks a bit blue. I'm going to take a bit of blue, mix it in. I'm going to put a bit more water in it. That's a super light color, so I think I'm going to go with that. And I'm going to drop it in to that water, just along the bottom of him. Because remember, everything that has form or shape, which is you and me and the birds, have a shadow. Everything that has light on it has a shadow. So I've just put in a little bit of shade like that. I might want to make it a little bit darker. I'm going to get a bit of a darker color, and I'm going to put a little bit more under there. So yeah, I'm not going overboard, because I want it to be very subtle. Subtle means light and a little bit transparent and not too harsh. Now, if I don't want some color on it, I can just wash my brush, wipe it on the paper towel, and take a bit of that color off. Pick it up. All right, now the next color I'm going to do is this lovely orangey color. It's kind of like a burnt sienna or burnt orange. So I'm going to take a bit of this orange. The nice thing about this set is that it's got lots and lots of colors in to choose from. Does not have to be identical color. You can mix some colors together. Oh, I like that orange there. You can make your bird your own color. So here we go. I'm going to drop in the color around his cute little neck. How cute is he? He's a very cute little robin. He looks very proud, doesn't he? I'm going to put in a bit more orange, because I think that's a bit more orangey over there. Now I'm going to let it fade. The good thing about wet and wet is that because there's no actual line there, it works really well, because then you don't have to worry about it having a line. You just want it to kind of blend in nicely without having, you know, that line that separates your two colors. So pretty easy. That was pretty easy, wasn't it? Just shove that in there. I'm going to have a look at his little head. His little head's got a few little dots and spots going on into it. Got a few little feathers that are kind of going into his wing there that are still orange as well. Now if I look at his chest, there's kind of like a dark color in there. So I'm going to take some of that color that I used earlier, that kind of grey blue. I'm going to put a few little dots where the shadow is under his head. A few little spots in there, pretty easy. Nice and lightly. Now I think that he's coming on really good. Oh, not bad at all. So at this point, I'm going to take my hairdryer, my handy hairdryer, and I'm just going to give him a bit of a blast to dry him a bit, because I don't want to put on a color and let them mix. Oops, wrong switch. There we go. Make him dry. Okay, now that he's dry, I've touched it and he's kind of dry, hopefully dry enough that the colors won't blend into each other. I'm going to start doing this beautiful blue that's all over him. Now that blue there, I reckon, is going to be quite difficult to find. Definitely not that blue, is it? Let's have a look here. Does that look like the same blue? Hell no. Let's see. Is this blue a little bit similar? Oh yeah, I reckon that would be the blue that we need. I'm just going to test out some of the others though as well. Let's see if that one, oh, that's a dark blue. So I reckon there's a bit of dark blue. There's a little bit of that blue there, even a little bit of that light blue in there if I really looked at it hard. But I'm just going to use a combination of these two. So it's very turquoisey sort of blue, or intense blue, I think they call it. Now I'm going to do exactly the same again. I'm going to go and I'm going to wet up this little bird. It's going to be nice and wet. All the parts that I want blue are going to be wet. Super wet, 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 wet. Can you see? I'm just putting a light coating of water on the whole, all the little bits that are blue. You can kind of see it because my water is a little bit dirty. Now, before I start this, can you see that there's a bit of yellow there? I think I'm going to put that little bit of yellow in. That's a cute bit of yellow. Now, my yellows are pretty dirty, but I'm going to go with this darkish orangey yellow. It's very intense. And I'm just going to put a little bit around here, this beak. Now, what color does blue and yellow make? Definitely makes green, doesn't it? So I don't really want that to happen. So I'm going to avoid that area for a little bit. All right, so let's mix up this blue. So I reckon it was this one, hey? Yep, that's the one there. And I'm going to just turn around my palette so that you can see it better. I'm going to pop it on there. Nice and intense. I'm going to try this one too. Kind of look the same, eh? Why did they even bother? That one there. Then I'm going to take the very dark one. I'm going to pop it over there. Very intense. I reckon this blue is kind of a bit purpley. Maybe I should add a little bit of purple to it. So I'm going to just take a bit of red and make a bit of a purple patch. Let's see what happens. Ooh, that's lovely. Very nice dark purpley color. See again? That's lovely. All right. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to start with the tip of his wing. Oh, I haven't done his tail, so let's give that a bit of a wet up as well. Wet, wet, wet. I might have to wet it again because I've been talking too much. I'll try to avoid that yellow for a bit. Under his beak. And avoid the oranges all the way around. Okay, you ready? Here we go. This is the fun part. Put in that blue. I'm going to put in a little bit of darkness around his eye. Dot it in. Dot, dot. Dot-dee, dot, dot. And I'm going to get a bit of that blue. Doesn't have to be the perfect blue. Dot-dee, dot, dot. See how I'm not like doing big broad strokes. I'm kind of just going, I'm just going to put those little dots of color in and see what happens because it's wet in wet All the colors will run nicely. Doesn't have to be perfect. I want it to kind of look feathery and puffily, because we like puffy. Make a circle of that eye. Now don't worry if it looks a little bit different. I'm not fussed at all if it does. I'm looking at his little wing. I'm going to do all the dark bits on his wing first. Coming down to his tail. Might mix a little bit more of that red in there underneath the back here. It's kind of more purpley, isn't it? Under his bottom. It's starting to look better. Definitely got a bit of purple in there, I'd say. And wash my brush. Put in some blue. Can you see? I'm not just going one blue, I'm using all different blues to try and make my bird come alive. All right, now that looks pretty good for a first coat. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to blast it again with my hairdryer to quickly get it nice and dry. Hold your horses, here it comes. All right, that should be quite dry. Now I'm going to go again with a bit of black for his feet. Actually, I might do this part of it first. I'm just going to make this into what looks like, I think, a stem. What is it? I don't know. Must be a stone of some sort, but we're not going to do a stone. I'm just going to make it brown like a branch. I'm going to go around his little feeties. Actually, it doesn't really matter if I even go over them because it's pretty black anyways. I'm just going to roughly put it in, put a few drops of water in there, kind of make it look a little bit more textured. Maybe I'll get a bit of a darker brown, and I'll go on this side, a few little dots and spots to make it look a little bit darker. And water on top, kind of make it look a bit blendy. See how that's kind of all going mottly? That's what we want. Now I'm going to go back onto his chest again because I'm not very happy with that color. It hasn't come out as good as I'd like. I think it's because it's a very, bit more of an orangey color, and I should have gone a bit more orange on there, but that's not a problem. I'm going to go in now and add a few of the little details on top of them. I want it to look nice and bright, and at the moment it's looking a little bit dull. Now I'm going to wet my brush a bit, and I'm just going to blend that out. Blendy, blendy, blendy. That looks a bit better, hey? It's kind of like feathery now, a little bit more feathery than it was before. Just like that. I'm happy with that bottom bit, so I'm not going to touch there too much. Using the tip of my brush, pulling that color down up into his little hairline again. Cover it all up. That's a bit better. It's starting to look a little bit more solid. So I think I'm going to go with some black now. Take a bit of black and add it to a bit of blue in here, just because I don't ever like using straight black. I'll just show you. It still makes a pretty dark black. And maybe I'll put a bit of purple into it because I like purpley black. And we're going to go very carefully using the point, and we're going to give him his little eye. Don't know why I'm calling it a him. Maybe because his name's Robin. Aren't your girls' names are Robin too? I'm going to also just leave that little patch of white in there. Cute little eye. This little patch is a bit smaller than that, isn't it? It's a reflection of the light. And I'm going to put his little beak. Very careful, super, super carefully. And I'm going to just wash my brush and put a bit of water in there, make it sort of grey. His eye's coming on nicely. All right, how about his foot, his little feet? It's almost done. I have a cute little robin. You can do any bird like this. You go onto the internet and Google some birds, maybe some birds from Australia. Now can you see that's running? That's because it's not dry. I should let that dry first, but I'm just going to go for it. Don't mind too much. It's a bit wet. Cover these little leggies. I've got a bit of paper towel. I've just got to take that up a bit so it doesn't have to look too bad. Alright, it's starting to look nice. Maybe his beak needs a little bit more darkness under. I'm going to put a little bit more under there. Looking good, little fella. And I'm going to go with a little bit more black, and I'm just going to do some very, very light dots and spots. Now, hopefully this will also dry a little bit lighter, because we don't want to do too much black. Black really is just to help you to differentiate between his head and a little bit of shadow. Now when it looks a bit dark, I can take this and just blend it out a little. Bit of water on there, not a problem to blend it out. Remember, nice clean water will help. My nice non-clean water is not helping. It's looking good. All right. So I reckon we're almost there. Maybe a few little more details. I'm just going to mix up a bit of purple again. Remember, blue and red make purple. And I might just make it very dark under here, just because it's a bit dull underneath his wing. A bit darker under there. Remember, a good painting has lots of darks and lots of lights. Under his tail. Make it kind of look like a cheap bit of those little feathers coming here and there. See, it's just those little details that help it to look like a bird. And a few more of those little dots and spots on his head. Got to kind of think in watercolour. There we go. And I reckon Mr. Robin is done. So my last thing that I do is I sign my name. And I go, Tammy. I'll have to shorten it. And there's our cute little Robin. Happy days. Go and have a lovely day now. Go kiss your mamas and tell them that you love them, your mum and your dad. And have a good night's sleep. See you soon.